That's the panels done, nice and sharp. Now to make these custom mouldings. Cutting the moulding took quite a bit of working out. I've used the bits from 15-piece cutter set, and it's not just choosing which particular cutters to use, it's the order in which to use them. The solution was just using 4 bits. First cut I slot in like that. Second cut, taking a curve off there, taking the bearings off the end of these. Third cut up there. Fourth, finishing off that curve, and then the fifth cut, flipping it over to make the rebate. About 4 cuts to get it down to the full depth. That's the second cut then, with that cutter. I've taken that bit of material off on the table saw, and I've just got enough of a flat left there to hold it square. I've just got to make sure I've got plenty of pressure holding that down. For the last cut, it's just flipped over onto its side. That's the outside mouldings cut. All I've got to do is put a little rebate in there now, and at the same time as I've been cutting those, I've done these slightly thinner ones that are going to go on the inside. If you want to know the reasoning and the dimensions, just have a look on the website. I've rebated down that edge and cut them all so I've got nice tight mitre fits. I'm going to be gluing them, so a nice surface down that edge, but I'm also going to be pinning them with quite large pins, so I'm just going to pilot bore them first. Glue them all up and fit them before I pin them. Pinning it, being careful not to hit the moulding. And just driving the pin in the rest of the way with a drift. To just below the surface. With the moulding fitted and the excess glue cleaned up, it's time to fit the panels. Fitting the panels, it's important to allow for expansion and contraction across the panel, so I'm not going to be gluing it. Width of the panel is 4mm smaller than the recess, so that'll allow for any expansion. And then it's going to be held in the centre of the recess by the foam strip that I've put in, and then it's going to be laid on a bed of acrylic sealant, so that'll allow for that movement. Enough sealant on so it's going to squidge out the joint, and I can clean it up. Water ingress isn't going to be a problem on the inside of the door, so I've just got to glue down that edge of the mouldings and then pin them in place, making sure that edge and that bit's not going to get glued together, so that panel's still got the movement. where the mouldings join, I'm just going to put a smear of that acrylic sealant on there so the glue doesn't stick to the wood. Then pinning it, I'm going to keep as much pressure as I can on that moulding to keep it good and tight against the panel and the sealant at the other side. And again, driving the heads right under this. Off the joinery, I've made my own glazing beads that I've then glued and pinned onto the door. And that's all the major work done. All it needs then is the pinholes filling, good soaking in wood preserver and the primer on, and it's all ready for the furniture and the final fitting. Oh, and the glazing. That's another story.